The amount of effort na dumaan para makaupo ako dito at i-film yung video na to, grabe. The hair and makeup, nag-ayos ako for you guys. Okay, maganda, napakaganda ng ating video for today because this is all about the books that I want you to read in 2022. And before that, welcome to my safe space. So, I'm sure that you clicked into this video kasi gusto mo ng new books to read. Bagong taon, 2022, we have our New Year's resolutions, new goals, and isa sa mga commitments ko rin this year is to actually read 22 books.
Thank you so much to Gcash for sponsoring today's video.
So ganito iba-iba yung genre ng libro na ma-share ko sa iyo for today. I am going to start with fiction, and these books are from one of my favorite storytellers, who is Mitch Albom, and that is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. So this book just deserves all the attention. Like, if you want to get into reading, this is the book for you because this is really short, 100 plus pages lang siya. It's such a short yet fun and sweet read. So this book tells us the story of the main character, who is Eddie, and his journey when he died. So nung napunta na siya sa heaven, he met these 5 people who taught him different life lessons and who are instruments for him to make sense of his life on earth. Kumbaga sa essay, ito na yung reflection. Kasi tapos na yung buong essay tapos na yung buong buhay mo Hindi kasi siya yung tipo ng, self-help book na sobrang dragging, na para bang tinuturo sa'yo diretsahan yung life lessons, na parang nakakasuka kasi like, nakaka-cringe. Dahil nagustuhan kong basahin to, I immediately read its sequel, which is The Next Person You Meet in Heaven. Ano ba? Ba't lagi nauhulog yung mga libro ko? If I'm being honest, I enjoyed this novel much better. Mas naging malalim yung journey, mas naging malalim yung kwento, mas naging exciting yung characters na na-meet niya. One of the characters in this story is actually the main character in this novel. You will enjoy this, you will have fun, you will cry, you will have an existential crisis. This book will teach you na nothing in this life is coincidence. In this story, you will discover that the characters may meet different kinds of people na yung iba, kilala niya talaga, pero yung iba, sino yan? It teaches you that there are people in our lives na parang dinaanan lang natin. May naiwan pala tayong mark sa kanila, may naiwan pala tayong impact, and ganun din sila sa atin. This has made me appreciate life even more. Like, you just need to read it. The third book that I'm going to recommend to you is once again from the author earlier, which is Mitch Albom. This is For One More Day. Again, this is just a short read, 194 pages. For One More Day, just from its title, this book will bring you into a journey of what life is like if the character had one more day with his mother, with his dead mother. So at first, medyo taken aback ako dun kasi nga may ghost. Like, bakit patay na yung nanay? I'm scared of ghosts. This is not a ghost story. Sobrang wholesome niya. Yung story niya is nagpe-present time tapos biglang tatalon sa isang fond memory when he was still a child. Yung experience na to that he had with his mother. And it also teaches me na yung relationships that you have as an adult, that was impacted by the relationship that he had when he was a child with his parents. Kasi seryoso guys, hindi talaga mapapantayan, hindi mapapalitan ang mother's love. I think like a few months ago, insensitive ko sa part na to, and I'm very, very sensitive with my words, but hindi lang ako aware na ganun pala talaga yung impact ng pagkakaroon ng, ng nanay talaga sa buhay. Kasi yung lola ko, Nanay Mirna, nanay tawag ko sa kanya, parang tinanong ko siya, out of nowhere lang, miss mo na mommy mo? Well, of course, her mother passed away already because my nanay, my lola, is already 69 years old. So, tapos sabi ko sa Nay, miss mo na mommy mo? Ganyan. Oo. Tapos, hindi ko na malayan a few moments after, like, she was already crying. Like, she had tears in her eyes. And I felt so insensitive during that time. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Akala ko kasi wala nang impact yun. Na kumbaga parang, matagal na panahon na, naka-move on na si nanay and all. But you don't. You never, you never move on from grief. Next next book is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is the last book that I read this year. First of all, the cover. The cover is beautiful. It's just the kind of book that you want to put on your shelf because it's just so aesthetic. It's so nice. The setting is in a restaurant wherein time isn't noticeable kasi may 3 clocks, tapos walang window, so very closed restaurant siya. That certain restaurant has the ability for you to time travel, but there are a lot of conditions, and one of those conditions is that you have to drink the coffee before it gets cold, or else there is a consequence kapag hindi mo na inom yung coffee. So there are 4 situations: the lovers, husband and wife, the sisters, and mother and child. And in these 4 stories, makikita nyo yung mga rason kung bakit nila gustong mag-time travel. Ano yung mga gusto nilang sabihin sa taong in-meet nila, kung bakit nilang piniling mag-time travel despite all the possible consequences. And if I'm being honest, I had fun reading this. It was a nice book to end the year. Kasi nga, diba, sa 4 stories na yun, hindi sila totally segregated from each other. The characters also intersect, so it's fun to see that dynamic as the stories go on. Just casually sipping my tea. I just want to remind you guys that the best mode of payment out there, personally talaga, like kahit sa businesses ko or kahit sa online shopping ko, talagang ginagamit ko ang Gcash. Like, Gcash is just so convenient to use when you're online shopping. So, for this year, 2022, I am encouraging you to also pay with Gcash. It is also very flexible because they have these 2 options now, which is to pay now or pay later. Super daming advantages when you pay with Gcash. Number 1, you do not have to withdraw anymore like with real cash because sobrang easy lang. It's contactless, it's safe and secure, and also personally super convenient mag-send ng payment through Gcash kasi pwede mo na lang din i-copy-paste yung number ng pagsisendan mo. Also, meron din yung scan the QR code, which is also really easy. Also, if you're using Gcash, I highly recommend for you to be fully verified so you can enjoy its full features. The last fiction that I want to recommend to you is none other than this one! 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I mean, I know, sobrang na-hype na siya sa TikTok, sa YouTube, everywhere. It's hyped. But if I'm being honest, if you're in a reading slump, this book will take you out of that reading slump. I swear. It has such an exciting plot that will just want you to keep reading and reading. Like, I finished this book in, I think, 2 to 3 days lang. And I could have finished it in 1 sitting. You just can't put it down, and I so regretted it na binasa ko siya ng ebook at hindi ng physical copy. I just regret that part so much. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo takes you into this journey of Evelyn Hugo. Kinwento ng buo yung experience niya with each of the 7 husbands. The story unfolds tragically, I'm gonna say, because each husband has its own story, has its own reason why she married this husband. You might be able to empathize with the other characters kasi honestly, hindi siya relatable. Yung characters hindi relatable because it's this whole majestic celebrity life. Kasi celebrity si Evelyn Hugo, and oh my god, it's so good. Like, may mga times kasi na ang tragic kung bakit niya papakasalan ng certain husband. The plot twist is really nice. So, kumbaga kasi, kinikwento ni Evelyn Hugo sa isang journalist yung buhay niya. Because, you know, she wants that book to be published once she dies para malaman din yung side niyo of the story. Because as a celebrity, parang ang daming news, ang daming opinions around you. But this time, gusto niya na yung kwento is mamumula sa kanya. Is from her perspective, what she really had to go through in order to be in that position. But the thing is, habang kinikwento niya yun sa journalist, I don't know, for me it kind of felt unnecessary. I think it would still be a beautiful story if natural lang niya na kinuwento. But aside from that, minsan, diba, parang kapag nanonood tayo ng movies, ang layo ng buhay ng movies na to sa buhay natin. But it's so nice to just be brought in that moment. And that's exactly what the book is going to do for you. Now, let's head over to a memoir. And it is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. At the age of 36, Paul Kalanithi chose this life of being a neurosurgeon in the medical field. And we all know that path is not easy. So because this is a memoir, this is about his own life, and you will be brought into his journey as it unfolds from being a neurosurgeon to him being a patient because he is diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. The story is so realistic, but it will touch your heart so deeply. Oh my god, look at my annotations. Okay, I'm going to read one line from this na inannotate ko. I was neither angry nor scared. It simply was. It was a fact about the world, like the distance from the sun to the earth. Lesson: don't associate facts with emotion. The tricky part of illness is that as you go through it, your values are constantly changing. You try to figure out what matters to you, and then you keep figuring it out. Death may be a one-time event, but living with terminal illness is a process. By the way guys, since the author is a neurosurgeon, there are a lot of medical terms in this book as well. So if you are in the medical field, this is a good book to read for them kasi makaka-relate sila. I don't know the medical jargons, but nevertheless, I enjoyed reading it. I cried a lot while reading it. Sobrang smooth, sobrang flowing niya lang habang binabasa. Let's head over to non-fiction or like the personal development stuff. First book that I have for you, this is a gendered self-help book. 13 things mentally strong women don't do. I swear, you need to read this book, especially if you're a woman. Amy Morin is a psychotherapist, and I think the story behind why this is the title. As a woman, like there are a lot of things that we should be able to do in order to be mentally strong. But we tend to forget that sometimes it's better to eliminate first before we add new habits, before we add new systems in our lives. I had a lot of life lessons from this. Next book is, of course, one of my favorite reads this year, Atomic Habits. I mean, I know this book is also hyped so much, but it's worth the hype, okay? Like, I'm not gonna argue anymore. This will teach you how to efficiently build habits. And I'm not talking about habits that is unrealistic, na parang nagtatapon lang ng information or na facts na you need to wake up at 5 a.m. in order to make your life better. It's not that. It offers you a lot of realistic and doable examples that you can follow. Sabi dito that habits are all about associations. So if you want to reprogram your brain to enjoy hard habits, you have to reframe your habits to highlight their benefits rather than their drawbacks. You have to make a hard habit seem more attractive in order for you to enjoy it. I think dito ko rin sobrang in-incorporate sa buhay ko yung importance ng mindset shifts. You can reframe I am nervous to I am excited and I'm getting an adrenaline rush to help me concentrate. That little mindset shift is not magic. They can help change the feelings you associate with a particular habit or situation. And now for the last book that I want to recommend to you, it is Lost in Work, Escaping Capitalism by Amelia Horgan. I swear you need to read this book if you're someone who is guilty of being part of the hustle culture, because I sure am guilty of that. It offers you a lot of deep insights about capitalism because diba yung capitalism, it is presented to us as this complex thing that we cannot destroy. Minsan pa nga pinapresent siya sa atin as something that we need, like we need as a society in order to survive. In this book, you will find some powerful insights that break down capitalism into why it is there, into how that happened. And so you will come to understand that capitalism is not actually just there. You know, there were a lot of systems from the rich and powerful just to make that system going. And one of the main things that this book has focused is all about the fashion industry talaga. Like, this will also make you understand fast fashion and consumption, not in the surface level only. It also provides you an insight of the two very different and equal sides of the spectrum. Because in this side of the spectrum, there is the pressure to produce clothes more cheaply, and it can only be met by extremely exploitative working conditions. But on this other side of the spectrum, influencers and celebrities are sent clothes to advertise. The amount of collective effort that goes into shaping customer demand is nearly inconceivable. It takes a lot of work to create the feeling of needs for new clothes. The influencer's post looks effortless and authentic, but it hides extensive work of producing the emotional and logistical preconditions for the selling of commodities produced elsewhere. And oh my god, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a great year ahead. Happy 2022. Happy New Year, sunshines. I love you all so much. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video to a friend who you know would love to read more books in 2022. And also please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. It's at your sunshine Cleo. Thank you guys so much and I love you. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.